Hey, it's Alex again. So I'm doing a little bit of work outside. I'm trying to clean up these, let me get the camera here, these burn barrels right here. They are insanely full. I'm assuming they have burnt a few years worth of stuff in these. I started working on this one and it is caked on the bottom. So I'm gonna have to get a shovel on there. And as you can see, it's very loaded down with water, completely soaked. I better stop this. Put it over there. But this is about all I can do is kick it because it's so dang heavy. But apparently over here in Missouri, where I'm at, I've talked with some people and I asked them, where do I dump stuff? What do I do with all of my garbage? And it is very lax over here, surprisingly, where I'm in East Tennessee with all the people. You had to go to a convenience center, is what they called it, but it's a dump. They had a few large dumpsters and you would put your household garbage in there. They would take it to a landfill and dispose of it that way. You can also get construction dumpsters to throw building materials in, anything that's not household garbage. But my dump sites already had a construction dumpster. They had a dumpster for electronics, and they had the dumpsters for your household garbage, your food and plasticware and all that kind of stuff. Also, there are recycle centers, but here is different. It's vastly different. So when I actually asked the first few people I met over here about where do I dump my garbage, is there a dump site I go to, they looked at me like I was crazy. So I thought I was country in Tennessee, but I guess with all the people, there were more amenities there than there are here because there's not many people here. But they said, no, you can take it to the landfill, which is from my house here, it's about an hour away. And it costs about $75 just to drive through the gate. So I was like, that's out of the question. That's stupid. I don't have enough garbage to spend $75 to get in there. There's also a garbage service that you could apply for and get the service for them. I don't know how much that is, but they would have a garbage bin that you could put up. Look at this. Look at my dog. I don't know if you could see her. Look. What is she doing? She's just running in circles. That is Zoe, by the way. She's a little special, but she picks up walnuts and just runs around. Like, look at this. I don't even know what she's doing. But anyway, so there is a garbage service that you can do, which they'll pick it up weekly. But they said otherwise, however, there's so little people here and they just let nature do it, which is crazy awesome. So they said, if you have any food, any scraps, just find a spot where you can either keep critters out of it or where you can basically compost it. So they said, just put it outside. Everything else that's burnable, like these burn barrels I've got, or there's a little burn pile right there. I don't know why it's in the driveway, which is ridiculous, but maybe convenience for the older lady here. But they said, other than that, burn it. Just keep it safe, keep it contained. I even had one guy said, I've had a few fires get a little out of control, but he's like, I got it there eventually. And I was like, what? That's nuts. Because where I was, we actually had a very big wildfire. You probably saw it on the news a few years ago over in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It went through East Tennessee, a little bit of North Carolina, and it was huge. But we have a lot of burn bans over there because of the wind, the dry season, and of how quickly the forests over there can just catch and go. But here they were just like, we've never had really any issues. Just keep it safe, burn it in a safe area, and that's it. And I was like, this is crazy. So yeah, I'm going to have to get used to that, where I can't just throw in all my garbage and my food scraps and everything into a garbage bag and drive 10 to 15 minutes down the road to a dump site and just toss it over there. I'm going to have to get used to getting the food separated, throwing the food out in a specific area, and either letting it just decompose, which is obviously good for the ground. Depends on what you do, really. But what we have is vegetables and fruit, which is perfect. And all the other stuff I have to separate as well for burning. Any of the other stuff that I can't burn, I'm going to have to find something to do. Either put it in a little grocery bag, and when we go to town, we dump it off, which is good because we don't have a lot, or get that garbage service. And I don't want to do that because just staying here for a week, we've barely had a garbage bag full, and I'm not spending whatever it is. I'm assuming it's going to be 50 to 100, maybe even a little bit more dollars a month just to have that service when I'm only going to have a bag a week. I mean, in my opinion, it's not worth it right now. But the other thing is a construction dumpster. I don't have anywhere to dump that stuff, so that's my pile. As you've seen in the previous video, I'm just going to pile that up as big as I can, because the minimum dumpster size for that is a 30-yard dumpster, which is, if you don't know, it's very, very large. I mean, it's both of these cars, well, maybe a car and a half put together, and then I don't know how tall their dumpsters are, but they can go from maybe a 3-foot dumpster to a 6 or 7 foot tall dumpster. I don't have that much garbage yet. Maybe as I start fixing this stuff up, I will. But yeah, the garbage disposal is very different here, and it's very lax. I was surprised all of the regulations and stuff that I was used to, there's none over here. They said burn your burnable stuff and throw your food out in the woods. Whatever you want to do on the property, do it. No one really cares. The other weird thing here is lagoons. So if you guys don't know what lagoons are, they are basically a pond for your poop. And it is open to the air. I'm trying to remember where the owner told me the lagoon is for this one. I think it's back over in there somewhere. I'll have to find it again. I do remember when he showed me, it was very overgrown. And I know from the research I've done that is not good. So these lagoons it's just a shallow and wide pond. Actually similar to, where's that pond at? Down in there. Right there. There it is. That man-made pond that someone dug. That is not the lagoon. But it is shallow and wide. So what it does is the solids fall to the floor, and you just let nature take it. You've got your bacteria and your microbes that slowly eat away at the human waste, while your gray water, your urine, all that stuff flows to the top and basically makes a barrier so you don't smell it. I even walked right next to it when the previous owner showed me. Nothing. I don't smell it at all, which was pretty crazy. I've told some of my relatives about that, and they're like, that's gotta stink. It's like, no, nothing. And it's basically, that's a standard over here. And you just dig a hole, put your main drain line out of the house into that, so everything flows there. And when the solids start filling up, the liquid keeps that barrier, and the sun evaporates the liquid off. So the pond never rises past a certain level. Now, when you get too much solids in there and the pond or the lagoon starts overflowing or can't evaporate fast enough because there's so much solids, which I think from what I was reading about, has 10 to 20 years, depending on how much it's used. Once it gets too full, they literally said just bury it and you dig another hole, because that's all you can do with the human waste. You put some dirt over it, let nature absorb it or break it down like it's normally supposed to do, dig another one, feed your other pipe over, and you're good to go. Now, this house does have a lagoon. I'm probably going to do a hybrid because I like my septic tank. It is cleaner and it's a lot easier to clean out. Versus the lagoon, I would have to dig a pond, put my drain line to it, and once it's full, fill it up, dig another one, and move my drain line. It takes a long time, but I don't want to do that. It's just a lot of work. So for me, I'm probably going to do a septic lagoon hybrid. So a lot of people, they don't use fill lines over here, or I can't remember the other term for it, but it's basically the piping system after the septic. So you got your septic, and then you've got a pipe that runs just zigzag all the way through your yard, or however much the environmental service people tell you need. So that has the gray water and it seeps into the ground. So basically your septic holds the liquids and solids. When the liquids get full, it runs off into the fill line and the ground absorbs that. So it lasts a lot longer. Apparently the fill line over here is not very common, and I could see why. I mean, if the way lagoons seem to work, I mean, it doesn't seem bad and it doesn't smell. So, but I still like the septic tank because I can get someone out here, pump it, and we're good. And I don't have to move the drain line. But that's for the future down the road. But yeah, there's some strange things here that I'm not used to, just because I guess it's such a rural area, and it's no podunk or anything like that. There's some very wealthy people back here, but it's just so private and so rural that there's no regulations. No one comes out here regularly and says you have to do this and this and this. We've got rules over here. We've got laws and guidelines that you got to follow. And I've talked to so many people and they said, no, you just do whatever you want. Just be safe and be careful with it, which, duh. But yeah, that's just a few different things about Missouri versus where I'm at. Burn, throw the food out into the woods, and lagoons. So I'll probably learn some more things that are vastly different than where I'm from, but this is pretty cool. I mean, doing that stuff, I already was going to do it with the food because, I mean, it's good for the ground. I was going to get probably some worms, put that in there, put it in the gardens and all that. But yeah, just a little bit of info on the area I'm in Missouri. So stay tuned for the next one.